Oh, to when we no longer can use this technology.
Yes, but whatever. That I have 1 whole month to think about it.
Yeah.
No, whatever. I'll figure it out. We'll do like a tester. Hello, Internet. Welcome to the Dr. Horrible's horrible surgery show.
Surgical ward. Only lovers surgical ward.
Only lovers, only lesbos surgical ward.
It could be like only lovers, like scissors and love. And it
Oh
works.
my god.
And they're using scissors in the.
God damn it.
About it. One of the things on my list is literally just like the scissor emoji and then question mark. I'm like, did this happen? Okay.
Yes, it did happen.
So, hello, Internet. Only Lovers Book Club. Welcome back. Amanda watches this. And this month, I was my pick. And so, super short recap, because we talked about it last week, is that a while ago, Andrea and I went to Virginia Festival of the Book. I dragged her to a panel about diversity and romance or whatever.
Dragged is a strong word.
Pulled.
Go.
I didn't want to go.
Oh, okay.
Pulled your arm gently and led you through the crowd.
Gently nudged her to a diversity and romance because we went to, what other things did we do that we went to
see the Lumberjanes artist.
Yeah. And then we also
and we saw Jason Reynolds and Laurie Anderson.
Yeah. And so those were things that she wanted to see. And I was like, well, if we go to one thing, let's go to this. And so there was a panel of white ladies talking about writing diversity. And it was
just like queer diversity.
Queer diversity. It did come up, but we also had a really good discussion about like, but like who gets to write about diversity? And just because you're diverse, you have to write diversity.
Sorry.
Anyway, I thought this book marked a milestone in Christina's picks because for once it was not straight up porn.
I mean, I didn't know that until I started reading it. That I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna learn some stuff.
I was like, wow, miles for Kris.
Yes. Well, it's okay. I still have a few months to go. I think I have one more pick left in the agenda.
Yeah.
Halfway through the book, it's like, oh, this is like mild pico. This is nice. This isn't habanero.
I definitely understood when you said like, oh, it's all about like clavicles and neck. Like I understood because it's true. Like every doctor was like, her usually sultry lips were pursed and stern, like whatever. But it was always like,
well, we'll talk about it because
like,
they were
graceful hands. Were like,
yeah. We'll talk about it because there's like a lot of stuff that I was like, oh, okay, but. So let's give it
I'm wearing Ivan's t-shirt and I went to pull my clavicle and I almost pulled a boob out. I was like, whoa.
Well, please don't make me use the blur on here. It sucks.
Just blur my entire
blur, and it was the worst. It was the worst.
It was my fault.
It was your
fault. My kid walked into the screen.
I was like, oh, teens. So yeah, we got this book in print. We got at that Barnes & Noble event. And then we read it, and I think overall we all liked it. I definitely enjoyed it. I read it really quickly.
Yeah, it was a fast read. I liked it.
So I gave it 3 stars because I liked it.
I think I would have enjoyed it more if I had been watching it. And I don't usually say that very often, but I think because it was so like medical heavy, like I would have enjoyed the suspense more if I had been like watching them operate on people.
Yeah. So I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah. I think I gave it 4 stars.
So if you're not eating, do you want to go first?
Let me finish eating my nut. Hold on.
Go for it. Just trying to find like who went first based on like a difference.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I did enjoy it.
It's just like out there.
Yeah. No, I did enjoy it. I didn't think it was anything like amazing. Like I will probably forget it quite. Like what I mean is I'm going to remember we read a book about lesbian doctors, but like if you ask me like what happened in the book, I'm probably not going to be able to tell you, but also because nothing really happens in the book. Like I didn't think it was very suspenseful. I thought it was like pretty predictable. Nothing like much happen. You know, usually in romance, it's like they meet and then they start getting together and then there's this like huge problem that almost tears them apart and then they come back. Like I feel like they tried to do that here, but it was on a much milder scale. So like I felt like very removed from the situation, and I really didn't like care if they got together or not. That being said, I really enjoyed the concept of like a 80% queer hospital. That was really cool. Pretty much
everyone was gay.
Everyone was gay in some form. They were either lesbians or bi. I'm pretty sure that that was it. I mean, there was maybe like one straight person in the book, but everybody else, and everyone was really attractive, or so it seemed from the description. So it really just read like an episode of Grey's Anatomy where just like everyone was gay. But unlike Grey's Anatomy, I didn't have like that buildup of like seasons and seasons to like prep me for this. So I wasn't super invested in it, but I did enjoy it. I took it to the pool. It was a fun pool read. I gave it 3 stars.
Cool.
I think it's probably the book of Kris's that I've enjoyed the most this year.
Oh, what are my other picks? What are you talking about?
They're all corny ones. I don't know. You know, I'm not like, okay, the Sex Planet one?
I was about to say, I'm like, was Sex Planet this year?
Well, the other one.
What was the other one?
I don't know. I don't even remember the other one.
Oh, no. I did like Punjabi Widows.
Oh, yeah. Well, like, that one had smut in it, but it wasn't smut.
You're right. Okay, so far it's Punjabi Widows, then this one, and then Sex Planet.
That's okay. I can't wait for mine.
Your next one, that's gonna be worse than Sex Planet.
Although,
oh my god,
I feel like maybe they didn't like talk about it, but like, was everyone in this book also white?
Mostly, yeah. There were like maybe 1 or 2 characters of Asian descent, but everyone else was.
Yeah.
From what I could tell,
I would just pretended he was Puerto Rican.
Who, Koza? Or
Jerry.
One of them. I just pretended one of them was Puerto Rican. You know, like
no, but
exactly. Like, when have you ever gone to a hospital and not seen like at least 1 or 2 Dominican and Puerto Rican nurses? At least 1 or 2.
Was there a
I don't know, but like I said, I don't think this book like did anything wrong. It just wasn't like good enough to like blow me away.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed reading it, and I thought the medical stuff was, I mean, from my limited experience with medical descriptions, aka Grey's Anatomy, and also that show about that nurse that got discontinued. Did you guys ever watch that?
Nurse Jackie?
I don't know. Maybe it was like a blonde lady.
Was she addicted to pills?
I don't remember.
She had like short blonde hair.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Nurse Jackie probably.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I thought the descriptions were pretty accurate, which would make sense since the author was a doctor, is married to a doctor.
Yeah, you can definitely tell.
You can tell that it's
fucking, she knows this shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Tash, what do you think?
Oh god, my neck just got jammed. Doctor! Doctor! I liked it. Thank you. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars just because it was a super easy and entertaining read. It's not the best thing I've read this year, but I really like medical dramas, like a lot. I loved ER. I love Grey's Anatomy. I love House. I love
that one too.
Yeah, just like surgical shows. I like seeing medical procedurals in like CSI or Law and Order whenever they go to the fucking mortician and they like figure out the cause of death. Like I like all of that stuff. And I'm a hypochondriac, so I like to just look up conditions and diseases and stuff. And also now I'm a copywriter in a pharmaceutical ad agency, so I'm learning all of this medical stuff all the time, always. So now I know about like central precocious puberty, and I know about like colorectal cancer rates, and I know about like all this other stuff. So to me, it wasn't super hard to kind of picture all of what was going on because part of my everyday job is to read all of these studies and read about all of these procedures and read about all this medical information and try to understand it despite never having gone to med school so that I can write about drugs and treatments and like relapse rates and stuff. So I'm just like, yeah, we can say this and not, it's true. So I found it just really interesting because through all of my reading and TV watching, I'm like, yeah, this sounds very accurate. Yeah, that sounds real.
I'm like, oh yeah, super realistic.
I'm like EKG. I'm like echocardiogram. Okay.
I think I had the feeling, and this may or may not be true, but I had the feeling when I was reading it that I've never actually read a very medical detail, like to this extent. I feel like I've read books that like take place in hospitals or have characters that go to the hospital, but I think this has been like the most descriptive medical thing I've ever read. Like I've definitely seen plenty of them, but first one I've read.
Yeah. Other than like actual studies, this is the only literature I've ever read that's been this medically heavy. But I thought it was cool. I was like waiting for all of the secondary characters to hook up because it was inevitable that the primary leads were gonna end up together.
I looked it up, and I think like the power couple in this book, their story is like in the previous series, and then this is like a spin-off.
That's the big one, the honor.
So this is like a spin-off
series
that takes place like in the same universe.
Gotcha.
So I feel like all the other characters will probably hook up. Series,
yeah, because I definitely saw like the redhead who she used to hooking up with who was her superior in the peds section. Like I saw that hookup happening.
No, she was hooking up with the
guy.
Oh
no, yeah, she was hooking up with the guy, and then
Zoe was
like working with this other chick, and I was waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, literally everyone is hooking up with everyone. That's very convenient, I guess, because everyone lives next to everyone, or everyone lives in this one neighborhood where all the doctors and all the surgical staff live.
Really believable, and that's also true. Like in the shows that you guys talk about that I don't watch.
You watched Grey's Anatomy for like a season and then got too many migraines and gave up.
Got too many migraines. Like fuck this show. During the Katherine Heigl days.
Yeah.
What was her character? Everyone hates her. Izzy.
I need to get back. I stopped in like season 9 after the total and utter heartbreak that was the death of Mexi.
Of who?
Just my favorite couple. They both died, and I couldn't.
Okay. Also, Christina, they're by season like 18 right now, so like.
No, it's not gonna happen. It's not that far. I know Shaka's like, you need to finish it so we can watch the new season. But I've just.
See, aparentemente they're doing 3 more seasons. Yeah. Ellen Pompeo's like, I'm making a lot of money, so I guess I'll keep being on this show. They hooked her up with some like young dude in the most recent season. Yo no sé.
Well, whatever. Like I was saying.
Pero I liked it because it was an easy read. I liked.
Yeah. Well, it's super convenient. Like because it's a hospital setting. They're all fucking each other. They don't have time for anything else but like fucking saving lives and fucking each other. That's all they have time for.
I don't know. I would have been like not trying to shit where I eat. So I would have been just.
I feel like that's what
dating app
want.
Hook up.
The stress. Yes. Yeah.
I would have been like probably trying to hook up with people too, but not people I work with because then it's like.
Well, but if you don't have time to go out, look, I'm not saying.
That's how she's saying the app.
Oh.
You just like Tinder it.
Yeah, I would have just been like looking for people to just come hook up with me at 3 a.m, and that's literally all I need. But there's too much of you opening yourself up for someone else to like fucking sabotage you. Oof. If everyone is competing for these like specific allotted roles.
Pero también like when you have a job
that's not true. I watch Scrubs.
But like when you have a job that requires so much focus, like I can't imagine, like I would get distracted by all that drama. You know what I mean? Like if you had a fight that day and like you're working on a surgery to get, like it's just much emotion.
That's why neither of us are doctors. I don't know if that
because we couldn't handle the hookup.
We can't handle the hookups, y'all. It's too much drama.
I was like very tempted to try to study medicine, but I knew it was going to be one of those like really big commitment things.
You still can. Someone in the Only Lovers extended family just started the path to medical school.
I mean, I'm trying to claw my way into creative executive roles because then I'm trying to get that like 6-digit salary.
Yeah. My gown's just real crunchy, so I'm digging there with you.
Yeah, trying to claw my way up there. Vamos a ver. Review season is upon us. Pero, nah, anyway, I took from it the same thing that I take from Grey's Anatomy, which is like, maybe I learned a couple medical things, maybe I didn't. It seemed like I was picturing the head honcho ladies as like Addison from Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
As like one of them. The other one I couldn't quite figure out who she would look like to me, but it was like entretiene y fue rápido, and I was like,
it could be like Addison and Bailey.
No,
like not like as a pair, but I mean like their personalities, like they could be the head honcho ladies. It's just that they wouldn't work together. But.
Yeah, or maybe like an Addison and a Christina Yang.
Yes, that too.
Like emparejada, que las dos son como que fuerte, pero Addison would be like kind of nicer. Like, I don't know, yo no sé, pero I could see that happening.
Yeah.
So I gave it 4 stars just because it was, if anything, it was like a good medical teachable moment. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Eso sí, I knew what the twist was. I knew they were gonna end up together.
Sí, porque, hello, what other thing could have made her delay only 1 year of medical school? You know what?
Yeah.
Getting pregnant.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I have questions.
Yeah.
And they're not, okay. I have questions. I look for the same reasons you liked it. Okay.
This is weird. Your fridge opens the opposite way your fridge opens.
What?
My fridge opens the opposite way other fridges open.
Like most fridges open this way, and her fridge opens.
My fridge opens like that. Like if you're facing it, it opens from right to left. I saw how you opened it right now. That's how mine opens.
You open your fridge with your right hand?
Yeah.
Maybe you're the weird one.
But I've lived in 3 states and multiple houses in each of those states. I've never had a fridge that opens that way.
Maybe everyone thinks you're left-handed.
I suspect that you might have reverse refrigeritis.
Treatment for that is a good stooping in the on-call room.
Mm-hmm. Getting a little diddled before
that gets interrupted by your beeper
prescription
every time.
Okay, my questions. They're technically Andrea's questions because she like, what do I want to know? And we're like talking about other stuff. So,
are you comfortable temperature-wise and your getup?
Well, we're good.
This is always cold.
I'm always cold, so I'm actually very comfortable right now.
Even though her house is at 76 degrees.
Dios mío.
Literally put on shorts and sandals to come here because I knew that if I had pants on, I would get hot.
Girl, my house is at like 71 to 72.
Amanda's the same way. She's over there with long pants and a blanket.
Oh my God. Y'all are monsters.
Yo, I could just go sit on the couch and let you two talk shit, Grey's Anatomy, and my fucking house.
When Kris lived with me, she lived in sweatshirts.
I was so cold.
I never saw her.
And now I'm living my best life. So worry about your damn selves. Question number 1: Did the realistic medical descriptions add or take away from the story? Andrea goes first.
I thought that they made the medical, like, if I wanted to read a medical story, I would definitely pick this author, and I really enjoyed it. But I thought that the romance was like kind of lackluster, so it didn't. I don't know. It like didn't. If I was judging this as a romance, I would say there was too much medical stuff and not enough romance. But if I was reading this as like a medical drama and the romance was just like a side plot, like that's how I see this. It's like a medical book with like the side plot of romance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the book suffers from someone trying to write a medically accurate book for other people who have worked in the medical field. So they probably have read these kinds of romances before and found a lot of inaccuracies and wanted to 100% not be the person who was medically inaccurate, but in trying to make sure that everything was correct from a procedural perspective, they lost a lot of the like storytelling from a romantic perspective. So I didn't necessarily suffer too much from it because I already knew who was going to end up together. If this had been a less predictable love story, then I probably would have had a bigger problem with all of the medical information in it. But because I already knew the kind of book it was going to be, I kind of just took advantage of the medical information in it because I do find that kind of information really interesting. Like, after watching specific episodes of like House and stuff, I have gone on like internet research spirals looking up procedures and like processes and side effects, and that's something I do for fun. I'll just start looking up these specific things and when did they get invented and who does it and like medical shit. So that's my 2 a.m. spiral when I can't sleep sometimes. It's just me being like, oh, ooh, there was like a weird echoey sound. It's the Area 51 aliens. They're like checking us out. It's fine.
Yeah. Stop fucking with our connection.
Sorry. But yeah, I think like Andrea said, if you're looking for a romance heavy book, this isn't your cup of tea because the romance, much like their own lives, kind of comes secondary to the medical practicing.
And that's why I was saying like in Grey's Anatomy, it works because you're not trying to tell an entire romance in one episode.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have these like super medically heavy episodes, but then the romances develop over episodes and episodes and episodes, so it like works.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like one small chapter, and so I felt like the romance was kind of like squished in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I had never read a book like this. So, I mean, it's funny because I know that like medical dramas exist, but like you know how every genre has its very specific thing. So I'm sure there's like Christian romance, and I'm sure they talk a lot about like how much they love Jesus and whatever.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Like romance. And then
I quiver for you, but I love the Lord.
Not even that, like farming, you know, like, oh, these are farmers, but then like romance.
Oh my God.
For some reason, even though I've seen like medical like shows, I've never read a book that was like that. So this was super different for me. I liked all of it, but I do feel I at some points was like, okay, but like, can we get to like, I felt like it was a real slow burn. Like, I guess this is also going to lead into another question that I was kind of coming up with, which was, so the pacing of the medical stuff was really fast, but the romance was very, very slow. And I felt like almost, it like ramps up right at the, like, I was overheated when I felt like we were resolving the entire, but I also thought that the buildup of their final kind of like confrontation was like surprisingly drama free and refreshing. Like they were just too busy to fucking deal with it because they were actually doing stuff that mattered. And
finally the one chick is like, hey, we should talk, and then I can tell you everything that's been going on for the last 4 months, versus, you can talk to me! Why aren't you gonna tell me what? You can't handle my reality! Tell me the truth! I was pregnant! Oh my god!
Yeah, they didn't. Oh, but it's internet spoilers. So yeah, I did find that aspect of it, like, it was very super slow burn. And here's the thing, it wasn't like we knew that they had hooked up and they were going to hook up again. There was always the tension there between them, but it never was like, it never felt stupid or pointless.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when we read the I think it was the proposal, that there's a stupid fight, like there was nothing to look forward to, and then they had that stupid fight. This was kind of like the opposite of that, like actual zero drama, but still I was like head first waiting for them to finally talk, and they did, and then it was good. It was like, okay, you understand me, I understand you, let's do what lesbians do.
That's because lesbians talk about their problems.
I understand what you're saying. Like, it did feel like a very realistic, mature sort of thing.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Like, I don't read romance all the time. I don't watch romance all the time. So I guess like maybe when I do, I just want to feel like more drawn in and more invested.
Yeah.
And this was like so like calm that I wasn't like super, because even like the little things they try to throw at you, like, oh my gosh, is Zoe jealous? Like, do they have a thing? Like, ended up being like very like not things at all, and
Not a problem.
yeah, just like everything,
Because
and that's fine. But it
definitely like the stakes were really low.
It just felt like if they hadn't gotten together, everyone would have still been fine, and they would have just gone on with their lives and done like.
Well, there was never an antagonist. There was never anything they were working against other than maybe they're competing for the same role, but also I can tell that this chick is kind of more into neuro, so I feel like it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah,
No.
well, they had mentioned pretty early on that like, oh, this is so annoying. We'll probably end up sharing the role. You know what? And even in the beginning, it wasn't like one of you will get it and the other one of you will be like transferred somewhere else to work and like this. Like,
happen.
You know what I mean?
And
like,
even during the
like go work in New Jersey.
Even during their stint, like it's pretty clear that Sydney respects Emmett enough to like not fucking step on her toes, even though she knows she's better. She always kind of like, it's called passionate rivals, but I never felt that they were. I never felt like they were rivals, and I never felt like they were not passionate. Not passionate, because they were passionate about their
jobs. Yeah,
they were never passionate until they fucked. But like they weren't passionately against each other.
Yeah.
Like girl drama. Like I'm gonna succeed no matter what. I'm gonna try to outshine you. And that was cool, but also again left it a little flatlined.
Left it what? God.
And like it's not that like I really just don't know what it was about this book, because now I'm thinking and I'm like
I'm changing my mind.
Sometimes I am into romances that are very like calm and mature and like, so I was thinking of like Grey's Anatomy and like Tashay, you remember when that like
ain't nothing mature about that show.
Yeah, but you remember when the heart surgeon lady was there and she and oh my god, I forgot her name, and the ortho girl and the heart surgeon girl were having a relationship, and it was like ortho girl's like very first lesbian.
Cassie?
Yeah.
When Cassie and Arizona were together?
No, not Arizona. The heart lady who then left because she was like, you guys fucking killed Izzy's boyfriend because you were doing all this like illegal shit, and I can't be in a hospital where stuff like that goes down.
The woman who was like super serious, like the super serious blonde woman who used to be there, left the show, and then came back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I remember her.
Well, they had a very like chill, like professional, like sort of not like passionately like, but I was still really into it. So I think I just didn't like the character that much.
I think the book suffered from not having
And that being said, I feel like we all enjoyed it.
Too much
we did.
steak.
If the author ever watched it, like we really did enjoy it. I'm just like,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for like a medically accurate queer book.
yeah.
From like a romance novel perspective of the specific kind of tropes and things we're used to from getting romance novels, there wasn't an antagonist. There wasn't a big conflict that they had to resolve. There wasn't like a double life or a super secret thing. Even the pregnancy wouldn't, like, clearly she was pregnant at some point, but she doesn't have a secret kid. She didn't secretly get married. She just was like, I was pregnant and then I wasn't, and then like
amazing though. It's like, he's my child.
No, but
that would have been another thing if she'd been like,
I would have done.
I thought
away from my husband. I changed my name.
I thought for sure it was a miscarriage because I knew that she didn't have a secret kid because obviously she's like working all the time. We all know who she lives with.
Yeah.
And I knew like this isn't the kind of book where like
I
someone's
thought
gonna get an abortion.
I thought okay, I don't want to jump into the fucking question, but like I guess we're just so, and it's fine because it's just there's so much that I want to talk about. So okay, whatever. The big secret: why Sydney leaves Emmett just like high and dry. So I feel like all the three of us knew exactly what was happening, but I hoped that it wasn't that, and I don't know why. I feel like I was hoping that she was embroiled in some sort of like drama, like malpractice student drama or something, like she and whatever. But I'm like
she witnessed a malpractice thing and then got blackmailed into leaving school.
Yeah. I wanted it to be something like that. I didn't want it to be that. Probably most realistic was that she got knocked up and that she was kind of like going through it because then she. I thought that was cool. Also, I feel like that's a default for like, oh, girls have to take a break, or like you have to take a break from something. I don't know why I didn't enjoy the reveal as much as I feel like I could have. That's throwing it back to you guys. What do you think?
I think my issue with that is it relies too heavily on someone being very ashamed of being gay. Because the whole thing is that she had one or two experiences, but was just like, oh no, and was being peer pressured to be with this guy like their entire lives. They'd been set up to be together, and then suddenly at school she has this experience. Like, this relies heavily on a closeted circumstance that I feel fits more in like the 90s. Like the act of being so ashamed and all that stuff. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it almost felt like I don't know what place this took place in either. Like, where is this set? Is this in Seattle?
No, but it was published in 2018.
That's pretty recent. I just don't know why I didn't enjoy it. I don't know why I didn't enjoy it. I thought it was a lame reveal.
No sé. By me, it's kind of like, look, you're a middle class to high class white lady. Like, you being gay isn't like totally not conceivable. Like, I don't know why you didn't talk to your boyfriend about it and tell him that you like maybe
talk about it. And she did say that
after they were engaged, after they were like gonna get married.
Right, but I'm just saying,
y'all were together when you were 14. You probably could have been like,
that's how they're setting up the family to be there, because she said her family like kicked her out and disowned her and stuff. So
because they probably paid a lot of money they could not get back for that wedding. That she definitely had like 7 years to say, by the way.
Yeah, I all of that closeted stuff, I like get it. I was like, fine, I get it. I just was like not here for. I got knocked up, and so I have to like drop out of my whole life. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know why I hoped that it had been something else. Obviously, those things happen to people, whether they're straight or gay or whatever. Unplanned pregnancies like disrupt lives. I just kind of felt it was the thing in this one. And if it was, so be it. Who cares? It's not my story. I was just like, I wasn't like, aha, I knew it. I was like, oh, I knew it, you know? Okay. Well,
Bueno, es que,
and then when there was no kid around, I'm like, I'm sure she miscarried. And
Yeah.
2 pages later, you find out that, that's exactly what happened.
well, it's also one of those things of like, the only reason she didn't follow that path was because of a miscarriage. Like, it doesn't even broach the idea of her maybe choosing to not have a kid because it's not what she wanted to do. And then that kind of then turns the idea of having an abortion when you're in a relationship where you're unhappy is like a non-starter. Like, that's not a conversation.
You know.
It doesn't exist in this world. Like, she never once considered, hey, maybe I shouldn't have a kid with this man who I do not love, who I do not want to be married with. I don't have feelings for him. Like, I'm pregnant, so obviously I have to have this kid.
Like, she was literally like halfway through to being a doctor. So,
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can do that.
I would have just been like, oh, whoops. Yo no le hubiese dicho nada a nadie. I wouldn't have said anything. I'd be like, hey, I have like a crazy schedule. Like, I'll see you in a few days.
Yeah.
Screen goes black. The next day, I got cramps. Ooh, I don't feel too good. Sorry, baby. I'll see you next week. Writes him a Dear John letter. I'm gay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Well, I don't even know what would have made it more interesting if it had been like crazy malpractice scandal, or like, oh, I got an abortion, or I went into gay panic, and that's I went into a gay panic, and I just and
I freaked out.
None of it happened. Or
I had a drinking problem back then, and I got into a car accident, and then I had to go to AA and get my life back together.
I fell into a Grey's Anatomy black hole.
An icicle stabbed me in the breast, and I had to go recover in Sweden.
That actually happened in Grey's Anatomy. No, it did. Right? That's why you said it, because it happened to you.
Yeah, it happens to Christina Yang. She slips and falls, and the icicle stabs her.
What is real life and what is Grey's Anatomy?
She slips on the ice, and then
and that's how she Isn't that how she fucking meets her?
Yeah.
That's how she meets.
That's how Yang meets Hunt.
That's how she meets her boyfriend. He saves her from the icicle stabbing.
She's like, just fucking yank it out, and he's like, I must find my things, and she just goes bang and walks out of the room because she's such a badass.
Actually, I think I saw those episodes. In the shower, when they first met or something, when they were first hooking up. This is the redhead, right?
No, Yang is
yeah. Hunt is the.
I remember them fucking in the shower and being like,
yeah. There was a lot of
emotions. I go through TBS and I'm like, okay, what's on here? Okay, no, I'm not watching that. Way back when. Okay, cool. Now that we got it out, now that we found the icicle out of our breast.
This is a very Grey's Anatomy themed episode.
It really it triggered me. It triggered y'all real hard. But okay, shit.
Spirals into Grey's Anatomy plot.
Okay, how did you feel about the insertion? I also feel like this took away from the main plot as well. The insertion of the side characters, the Honor and all the other people that were clearly established characters in other series. How did you feel about their inclusion in this?
I'm glad they were included because they were my favorite couple. Boss, power, hospital couple, with they didn't have a sex scene, but I wish they had, because the sex scene was sexier than
when she was standing behind her and she's like, oh. Yeah. And the other one's like, oh. And I was like, oh.
No, I was super. I was
super.
Yeah. I liked the side characters that were already established. I could have done without fucking Zoe, who's just like, you're not paying attention to me. Meh. And she's like, is it because we're not having sex anymore? She's like, what? Why would you think it's that? You're not even talking to me. It's like, bitch, I've been on rotation.
We work at the same place. You know my schedule.
I haven't showered in 4 days.
I kept thinking, because before they were on the same, rotation team or whatever, and now we weren't. So it was this was gonna happen eventually. Like, you were going to be like separated. I felt like they still talked a lot. It's just that whenever they talked, Zoe was like,
so what about Sydney?
yeah.
What's up? You fucking that bitch yet? You fucking her?
Well, of course I wouldn't want to talk to you. That's all you want to fucking push on me.
She taking your surgeries from you?
Why Zoe?
She go take your job? Oh, sorry. I gotta go. I have a date.
Yeah, and I like how she played it off like, oh, I'm just like trying to be a really good friend. I'm like, you're trying to start shit in my head. That's what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
And it was for the best. I think Emma just kind of did it on her own. That she fucking handled it. I don't feel like I needed her to investigate it. But and then
Sadie's just a redhead and angry, like every other fucking redhead character in these shows. She's just like,
I don't like Sadie. I don't want to talk about her.
the lithe redhead.
Sucked. She sucked.
Who's angry for like 3 chapters and then is like fucking the other guy. So like,
yeah, whatever.
Clearly you didn't really care that much, Sadie.
Maybe we'll find out in the next book.
I'm not reading it.
Oh, come on.
I would read it. I would read it if only because I fully support.
No, I want to go back and read. I want to go back and read the honor book.
I would read the honor.
That's what I want to do because I felt intrigued. I didn't mind their inclusion in the book, but I also don't feel like it was done in a super elegant way. I'm a super newcomer to the series. Like, I don't know who any of these people are. So sometimes when their scenes would come through, I would be like, this added nothing to the story except for, hey, whoever's familiar with this, it's even in the prologue or the author's note where like, you're gonna notice that Honor and this other bitch Noble, whatever the fuck her name is,
Quinn. Are Quinn and Honor the same people?
No, I thought they were. It was very confusing.
All right, so then Honor and Quinn. That's the.
Lo que pasa es que sometimes they refer to them by first names and sometimes they refer to them by last names. So it's like Honor is like always Honor. But then Quinn is sometimes like McGuire or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Quinn McGuire.
So it's like confusing. I was a little confused at first too, but
anyway, like I was always like, whenever their scenes would come up, I'd be like, oh, this is cute. Like I thought it was really cool.
And their kid was really cute. Like,
but I
would read that.
But then I was like, okay, nothing was added. Like I could have spent more time with like Signy Emmett angst than like they're happily ever after.
They're doing this. They're assuming that like the readers of this series will be the readers of the other series. So they're like cameo.
Well, I didn't appreciate cameo that I didn't get. It's like you guys talk about Grey's Anatomy characters I don't understand because I don't watch that show.
It's like when we were reading The Night Tiger, and the one dude was like, my cousin's uncle's brother used to work in this house where there was a ghost, and I was like, ah.
But it's not like the cousins, brothers, whatever, then showed up to this story and was like, hey guys, I got your mail.
There's no crossover.
Bye.
Yeah, it was whatever.
By the way,
universe, like
there's a tiger outside. Bye.
God damn it. God damn it. I get a word in edgewise with you two today. What's going on?
Sorry.
Book covers.
I'm too comfortable in my 70-degree apartment.
Hey,
you don't have to turn on the AC for me. Turned it down. Oh my god.
What's it?
She did, and now they're all cold. Back up. It doesn't matter. I came prepared. I'm in shorts.
No, you're so hot. I'm very comfortable now. I'm getting there, but it's fine. I'm getting hot. My belt's getting hot. Okay, question. I don't even know if this is the last one. Here we go. Did the fact that everyone was, I'm not going to say gay because I feel like that's, not everyone was gay. Like LGBTQ.
Everyone was gay or bi.
Queer.
That was it.
Yes.
No, there was no like trans people. There was no like
You're right.
gender fluid or like it was either you were a lesbian or you were bi.
So did the fact that
all of the male characters were straight, right? Like it was only the girls that were queer.
I don't think Radclyffe is interested in writing about dicks.
No, I know, but specifically, like the girls, the like 2 boys in the book were like straight.
The 2 Puerto Rican boys.
the one white man and the one we're labeling him as Latino or Hispanic adjacent.
Yeah. So yeah, the fact that everyone was gay or queer and hot make this seem like a fantasy was this Grey's Anatomy fanfiction?
I mean, here's the as I'm reading it, maybe like 10 or 15% of the way through the book, I turned to Ivan and I was like, statistically speaking, the chances that every woman in this book is bi or lesbian and there's only 2 men, statistically speaking, this is an improbability. And so I'm having trouble believing in this world building because this isn't real. Like, it would make sense to me if Honor and Quinn, Emmett, Sid, and like 1 or 2 other characters, because Emmett has to have people who she hooks up with. Like, that's part of her characterization, that she's so busy, she's only trying to fuck people. Mm-hmm. But that every single other character is also either bisexual or lesbian. I'm like, that's not realistic. And I'm not, obviously, like 100% totally down to read about lesbians and love and romance. But it's like, it's the same way I definitely noticed everyone was white.
Yeah.
Except for like 2 characters. Just the diversity hit one specific demographic.
To be fair, like when we went to the author talk, like she was very clear about that. She was like, I'm
trying to stay in my lane.
Yeah, she was like, I read lesbians because I'm a lesbian and I want to read lesbian books. You know what I mean? She's very unapologetic about that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But to me, I think, and maybe it's just because like it, if you think medical sexy drama, like Grey's Anatomy is it, you know what I mean? Like it's like the number one, like that's what you think of. Yeah. So to me, this did read like someone who, wanted that sort of Grey's Anatomy experience, but
just gay, like the L word, just Grey's L word.
Exactly.
But then also not just the lesbian experience of Grey's Anatomy, but the like Caucasian lesbian experience of Grey's Anatomy, because there wasn't any like,
But she talked it because Kris is right. They did talk about like, can I write characters of other races? Can I write characters?
Should I? Is that my place?
Yeah.
Is that my job? She's a prolific writer.
Yeah,
okay?
she writes a ton of, and I'm pretty sure that like, what she does is just her books are like all white, and
but her flavor of diversity is in sexual and orientation, not
gotcha.
Not in race.
Gotcha.
So, how can I mix this in a little bit more?
Like if you think about it, like I would rather have a book that is all white than a book that has like caricatures of people of color.
Well, so what I was gonna say though is you can write a book. It's like blind casting. You shouldn't be writing characters unless their specific background affects their current personality. Like you can just write the character as a character.
Right. But I think like, oh no, if I'm going to write like a Black character, they have to talk a certain way. They have to look a certain way. They have to do certain things. And then they get so into that lane that like they create characters that are just like racist. You know what I mean? Like you can, like not on purpose, but they're just like, so just me personally, if it's gonna make me angry to read this character, then I'd rather that character wasn't there at all. Yeah. And I'm not saying that's how she would write it. Maybe if she tried,
she'd do
a good job. But like she has, I have to assume that it's because
we don't know if she hasn't tried.
Right, she hasn't tried in this book.
Yeah. I mean, quien sabe? Like, it would have been just as believable to me if Sid had been like, blah, 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 blah. I guess I can sleep over. Let me put my silk cap on. Okay, let's do this. Sleep. Ya, una cosa that is a realistic thing.
My life, tell my story.
Yeah, like.
Hold on.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just put this on so that my hair doesn't get messed up tonight. Why do you put that up? Yeah. No me toque. Yeah. Or, okay, like, hey, are you hungry? You can grab something out of the fridge. Okay, cool. I'll just do some butter with toast. That's not butter. That's beans. That's that can. And then I would have been like, Latina. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't expecting like a plethora. I was definitely expecting more sex though, but it didn't. It wasn't like a ton of it. And because they talk about, I remember hearing or reading about, writing these like the publisher is called Bold Strokes. Okay.
Yeah, they do run.
So it's no, but there's also like she writes some erotic stuff. So I was like kind of hoping for some. What?
Strokes.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
No, I did think, and again, I think maybe because like I'm saying, this book was so medical heavy that I think the room, you know what I mean? It was
sterile, like an operating room.
No, it was. I think we had to make choices. Do I describe this cardiac procedure, or do I describe her going down? You know what I mean? So it ended up being like, okay, 2 minutes and she came, but then like 10 minutes on this like.
Yeah, procedure. It was very fast.
Oh.
She came like she lived with so much. Oh, it was quick. She finished. Where'd you
go? Sorry. I'm back. I'm sorry.
Kris.
I moved the mouse and accidentally closed the tab because I don't know how to use a laptop.
Literally snorting.
What happened? Why?
Because we were talking about boom, you're done.
And then you disappeared off the screen and Kris was done.
Oh my god.
Though I was gonna say I did really appreciate that they actually used the word clit in this book.
Yeah.
She's like, I felt it pulsing in my clit. I was like, yeah, you did, bitch.
You fucking did, bitch.
Okay,
I wanted more of that, of course, because it's me.
Did I tell you guys? So, Tashay, I don't know if you know, but I've been watching this trash show called Love Island.
Oh my god, it's like super popular in Britain, right?
It's like the UK version. But anyway, so I've been learning all of this slang or whatever, and over there, or at least on the world of this show, when girls are like turned on, they're like, oh, I have the fanny flutters. Like, that's how they refer. And I think it's the best thing I've ever heard.
Oh my god. Wait, can we?
Like, ese tipo me está dando fanny flutters. Like, that's how you, like.
Guys, can we create our own roller derby team and call ourselves the Fanny Flutters?
Fanny Flutters, yeah.
I'm
ready.
Also, it's like it got the sunset, so now it's super dark here.
Super dark.
It went from like the sun was hitting me in the corner of my eye, and I was very like profile, and now it's like we don't have any overhead lighting in the room, so it's
my cackling woke my dog.
If you see something in the background, it's because I'm getting murdered. It's no big deal.
Ivans.
Internet. I don't know what's going on. The witch, La Bruja, she's here.
You're making me ugly laugh this entire hangout. Y'all made me angry and super loud.
It's fine. I want the thumbnail to be you doing this.
Okay.
Who is that baby? Is it the fluffy baby? Yes!
You're scared of me because I'm wearing all this shit.
Oh my goodness. Her little belly, lunares. Oh.
Internet, that was our hangout.
Hey, okay, you didn't ask it, but I want to know, who would you have sex with out of the characters in the book?
Oh, I feel like I didn't copy paste it. I
I
just forgot to copy it from our chat.
If you had to pick one character.
Do I have to go first?
Yes, because it was your book.
Wait, did it have to be like the protagonist?
It can be anyone in the book.
I think I would do it with Emmett. Just spicy, fiery. And then I wouldn't have to like talk to her. Like she's totally okay with like being in love with Sydney, and I'm okay with that. That's me. I guess Emmett Maccabee.
What about you, Tashay?
Was Quinn the one who was the head of trauma?
No, I think that was Honor. I think
Honor.
Quinn was the chief of the surgery one.
Surgical chief? Probably the surgical chief, because then it would have helped me in my career.
Oh God. God damn it. What about you?
I think I would go with Danny.
Danny, who's Danny?
Danny was Sid's friend who became like the peds surgery.
That girl, the one who was like gonna end up hooking up with Zoe eventually.
Yeah, except I wouldn't hook up with Zoe.
Part 2, I would also hook up with the guy who was like super good at all of the things. He seemed very
the
efficient.
dorky guy.
The dork.
Yeah. Yeah, you would have.
Yeah, I would have been like I would have been trying to like do everything in the hospital.
No, Christina, you would have ended up hooking up with the dorky guy and then just like destroying his medical career, because then he would have been trying to fucking marry you, and you'd be like,
no.
Is that my beeper? I have to go. Oh wait, I'm gonna.
Have the sponges. I'll just like use one.
Yeah, you're just like, is this your lunch? I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this with me, and then I'm gonna go.
Don't get jealous.
I know me, oh little potato.
Oh,
No.
She didn't care. She's still looking.
She's still looking at me.
Gosh. What are we reading next month?
I love her. I don't know.
It's your pick.
Oh. I don't fucking. Is it the Something I Seduced?
This one, the
Dude, Hot Mess Book Club. This
from that prostitute series,
It's the.
right? Like in every one of those books,
What?
it's like the same like strip club with like the prostitutes and like every book. Like that's what they all have in common. They're all different characters.
Oh, this is the prostitute alternate universe,
right? Isn't that the
Well.
one with the negative reviews? Because people were like,
I don't say.
The Secret of Charlotte Street. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Charlotte Street. At the end, had like some sort of like sex worker thing that like is a recurring theme in each book, and people are like, I don't want to read books with like people who go to sex workers. Fuchi.
Yeah, but
So then don't read it,
No,
idiot.
I know.
We are reading. We are reading The Duke I Tempted. This is the first one in the Secrets of Charlotte Street series. It's got almost 4 stars. No, the reason I picked it is because it's supposed to be like a period romance, but also it's got like BDSM. It's like, where is it? Wait, where is it? Do you want me to read the description?
Yeah, I was reading it. Just
Yeah,
now,
like in this book, it's a BDSM thing, and in the other books, it's like other stuff. But I think like that's what I had read. Like what they all had in common was this one like sex club.
Gotcha.
Oh, interesting.
Where people were like, hey,
Whatever.
I do, Mia. Do you want me to read it, Kris?
go for it.
Okay. So at the top it says in italic, he's controlled, meticulous, immaculate. No one would expect the proper Duke of Westmead to be a member of London's most illicit secret club. Least of all, his future wife. Regular text.
Secret means sex.
Yeah. Regular text. Having overcome financial ruin and redeemed his family name to become the most legendary investor in London, the Duke of Westmead needs to secure his holdings by producing an heir, which means he must find a wife who won't discover his secret craving to spend his nights on his knees, or make demands on his long-scarred over heart. Poppy Cavendish is not that type of woman, an ambitious self-taught botanist designing the garden ballroom in which Westmead plans to woo a bride. Poppy has struggled against convention all her life to secure her hard-won independence. She wants the capital to expand her exotic nursery business, not a husband. Christina, she's a botanist. But there's something so compelling about Westmead, with his starchy bearing and impossibly kind eyes, that when an accidental scandal makes marriage to the Duke the only means to save her nursery, Poppy worries she wants more than the title he is offering. The arrangement is meant to be just business, a greenhouse for an heir, but Poppy yearns to unravel her husband's secrets and to tempt the Duke to risk his heart. So she wants a greenhouse, and then I'm assuming she gets caught like making out with somebody, and then people don't want to invest in her business, and so she ends up with the Duke to like get money.
Tune in next month.
I feel like this is gonna be like, what was that other book we read where it was like, we should get married as like a negotiation, but then they like fell in love, and it was like the really girl who had been dressing as a boy and winning games of like chess
tournaments.
Yeah.
Really cute.
What was that one?
That's what I'm hoping is kind of like.
That was the something hawk, the one where there were no birds.
No.
We're talking about
the girl who like, she was little. Her dad dressed her up as a boy to play in chess tournaments, and when they found out it was a scandal, so she moved to a city where nobody knew her.
And that was her secret, and she was hiding.
Playing. But then this Duke was like, we've been caught in a scandal, so it's just gonna be like a marriage of convenience. But then like they get.
Yeah, I remember the book.
They have that scene where she's like,
I don't think this is.
Yes.
Feel like
was it.
The Duchess War.
Yeah, that was it.
Because he was a Duke too, or something.
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah. So I'm hoping it's kind of like that, but with BDSM.
We'll see. Manage your expectations, y'all.
¿Estás diciendo que Tashay no sabe escoger libro?
I didn't say that. I just said manage your expectations about the book. Why are you putting words in my mouth?
Tashay's face.
I didn't say that.
I just found the Duke I tempted on the public library overdrive, so I just checked it out.
Yeah, I have mine on hold, so you should put yours on hold. So when my hold releases, you see
your face.
It's your replay, lady. I got you on camera. All right, let's sign off. Goodbye, Internet.
Bye, Internet.
Joining us on this harrowing medical drama.
It'd be funny. Hey, but we never talked about that they legit did that.
Did they know?
Yes, they did.
I feel like I didn't understand what happened. The way that it was written, I was like, it was very fast.
No, they definitely.
I don't know.
It was fast.
But they did, but then their hands were down each other's pants while they did it.
Yeah, okay.
That's what happened. Their legs were like this, pero era mientras her leg was like this, her hand was like.
Tune in next time for Andrea's hand-drawn explanation about how that worked out. We're gonna get a blueprint from Andrea.
Kris is on the floor. I'm gonna stop the live broadcast. Bye, Internet.